Who heard? Station of Wonderment. The mentor interpreted time as a state of mind. For example, in a state of joy, an hour shrinks into moments, whereas a single moment of grief seems to stretch over hours. Time is conditioned by space, the eternal word of the Holy Quran, by declaring neither of the East nor of the West, negates both time and space. Directions are creations of the angle of perception. When they are negated, awareness enters the realm of limitlessness. At whatever station the traveler on the spiritual path comes to rest, it outwardly appears to be the destination. Yet it is not the destination, for the essence of the majestic Lord cannot be contained within any state or conception. It is in this context that today's subject is the station of wonderment. It is that stage of spiritual training in the attainment of the gnosis of Allah, in which consciousness is struck by successive blows. Former certainties dissolve, long-held conceptions are shattered, and the inner self journeys toward a new dimension of perception. This is called the station of wonderment. In one gathering, the mentor said, like Hazrat Awais Karni radiyallahu anha, I remained in the station of wonder for 10 years when I was living in Nazimabad. People broke the glass windows of my house. Newspapers published articles against me. Pamphlets were published. Financial hardships surrounded me. Severe illnesses left my body exhausted. I passed through a long succession of outward and inward trials. By the attention and grace of my mentor, I traversed this arduous stage. And when all the veils of wonderment were lifted, the world, with all its attractions, had become meaningless to me. Wherever my gaze turned, only Allah was visible. I inquired, does the station of wonderment always extend over 10 years? The mentor replied, the station of wonder may last for 1 day, 1 year, or even 10 years. I submitted, does every disciple have to pass through this arduous stage? He replied, no, it is a special course of training. Anyone may undertake this examination, but ardent aspiration, sincerity of purpose, and steadfastness are its fundamental conditions. In response to another question, he said, whoever pledges allegiance in a spiritual order purely for the sake of Allah, that very intention will, without their conscious awareness, lead them into the course of the station of wonderment. Then, turning toward me, he said, you made the gnosis of Allah your destination. That is your concern. For many people, Allah is not the objective of their aspirations. I submitted, Huzur, does every disciple who enters this course complete it? He replied, no. Someone may start it with great passion and ardent enthusiasm, but then say, this is far too difficult. A gentleman present in the gathering submitted, can the period of training of the station of wonderment only be completed during the mentor's lifetime? He replied, the ideal form of training is that this stage be completed during the mentor's earthly life. Afterwards, it becomes much more difficult. However, if one remains steadfast and faithful to one's covenant, then, by the will of Allah, this course is completed for them even afterwards. Every seeker's station of wonderment differs from that of another, because each person's inner constitution, weaknesses, and veils of the self are unique. To understand this reality, consider that when a traveler passes through a security gate at an airport, the alarm indicates that they are carrying something that cannot be taken any further. In the same way, when someone passes through the station of wonderment, an inner alarm begins to sound. Their consciousness becomes extraordinarily sensitive, and the hidden weaknesses within them begin to reveal themselves with full intensity. In one person, anger becomes dominant. In another, the desires of the self gain mastery. One is consumed by greed for wealth, while another is overtaken by the craving for self-projection. This is the decisive moment where the seeker stands before two paths, either to remain captive to these very weaknesses or to confront them, break free, and move forward. In my understanding, just as the mentor traversed the station of wonderment, a true disciple also passes, in one form or another, through these inner disciplines. My observation is that it is as though the seeker has been lowered into an open grave, where there is still room to breathe, yet for an appointed period they must remain within that confined space, face to face with their own inner being. At such a time, this glad tiding from the Holy Quran becomes a source of support and solace for their heart. Indeed, with every hardship, there is ease. People generally regard spirituality as nothing more than a path of wounds, rigorous ascetic practices, and unceasing hardships. Yet, direct experience unveils a different reality. When the seeker passes through the station of wonderment, the spiritual power of that station becomes a part of their very being. Thereafter, if one stumbles, one regains one's footing. Even if the ground itself slips away beneath one's feet, the void becomes a firm foundation. When expectations shatter, Allah connects with Himself, and soul learns the modern knowledge. On one occasion, the mentor said, "At times I reflect upon how one servant accomplished so many tasks all alone. All of this is the fruit of the station of wonderment."